Hey there, and welcome to another channel review. Tooltop released another version of their already known ET120M, this time with two channels, and for sure, I received one to review. A few months ago they released the ET100M Pro, like 3 to 4 months, an evolution of the previous ET120M, and the changes were especially in terms of speed, with faster MCU and a few more details like the waveform generator. So let's see together what they brought new to this ET120M C2 oscilloscope other than the second channel. A quick note for letting you know as a disclaimer that I received this unit free of charge to make this review, but no payment was made by Tooltop to produce this video, and they will see it only when it's published on YouTube at the same time you will. I would like to send a big thanks to Tooltop for their long collaboration with the channel, but also you, my viewer that sponsors the channel by using the affiliate access links whenever you go shopping on AliExpress or Amazon. You pay exactly the same, but by using these links on the screen to access AliExpress or Amazon for your purchases, you are sponsoring the channel without spending a cent more. A sincere thank you. No more chit chat, let me show you the key features. As usual, let's start by seeing what comes in the box. It's delivered in this, non-branded box. We have some information in the back, but I have here a sticker that will not allow me to see everything. But yeah, it seems more or less the same specs that we had in the previous one. This is one channel module. So let me start by opening it. Okay, so what we have here is we have two sets of probes. Those are not the usual P6100 that are usually delivered with these oscilloscopes. They are almost like my Rigol probe. So yeah, two sets. An MCX to alligator clips cable. A user manual in English. It seems organized, yeah, with infographics. It's a pity it's all in black, but okay. The oscilloscope storage bag and a packed oscilloscope. So for the first impressions, let me first open the bag where it is delivered. Yeah, pretty much in the same line as the previous two devices. We still have the same layout of keyboard, the same box. The main difference is really on the top, where we now have two channels, channel 1, channel 2, and the output from the function generator. And let me just grab the previous model. Okay, so here it is. It's easy to see that we have a BNC connector instead of these MCX ones, and also the output from the function generator is just this little metal thingy on the top. Everything else seems to be equal or similar, and the only main difference is really the color of the enclosure. Okay, so it was good in the previous model. We still have this rubber-like grip on the sides. It will help you with the grip of the device. And yeah, nothing much to add. Well, one thing that I like is that the probe comes already with the MCX adapter in it. Since we have the BNC on the previous model and the MCX on this model, I really like that the connector is in MCX instead of being an adapter. That is really important because this will be much more stable than using an adapter. Okay, in terms of first impressions, that's it. It's also cool that the cable they delivered also have the MCX plug to the alligator clips. And in terms of first impressions, just to point out that the buttons are still like rubber, are very good to the touch. And yeah, that's it. Let's see how this works. Now is the time to talk about this video sponsor, PCBWay. I always use PCBWay for creating my boards with a professional factory quality, as you saw in my millivolt voltage reference board. It is very cheap to manufacture your PCBs on PCBWay. You can manufacture 10 PCBs for only $5. How awesome is this? And it is pretty easy also. Just insert here the PCB dimensions and you'll have an instant code. So when you want a PCB, visit PCBWay to get your code, and if it is your first time ordering from PCBWay, you can use our access link for a $5 credit. And don't forget, they also have component assembly service, 3D printing service, and much more. Now let me show you how this works. I will now power up the oscilloscope. Yeah, it boots quite fast. We have already in the screen the signal that I'm outputting from my function generator. And now I will activate channel 2. For that, you will press in F2 for a while, like this, and it will activate. Right now I'm using 10 times probe, so I will change this to a 10 times signal. Even if on 100 kilohertz you don't need that. Okay, so we have here both signals, pretty nice. And let me start by showing you what is available on the screen for us. So from the top we have here the channel indicator. For changing this you just press F1 or F2 as I showed you. And the selected channel will have this white color in here or in here. And while you are with the selected channel, all the keys will work to define the properties of that signal in that channel. On the right side of the selected channel, you have here the edge indication, rising or falling edge. You can change it by pressing the edge key. As you can see, the arrow in the edge indication is changing, and also the signal on the screen. And on the right of the edge you have the time division. In this place you have the trigger indication. Right now is running, but you can use the stop key to stop the signal, and it will change here, and also stop key to start again. So this is the run stop key. And on the right of this signal you have the trigger mode that is currently running. To change the trigger mode you have this key here, the trigger, that will change between single, normal and auto. In this zone you will have the output of the function generator or signal generator, and finally on the right side you have the battery indicator. So in the middle you have the arrows for indicating the 50% of the signal, and on the left side and on the right side you have the trigger indicator arrow. On the bottom you have, divided by this plus sign on the middle, the two channels information. So you have the amplitude that can be changed while this is on plus sign with up and down arrows, and also the time division that can be changed with the arrows to the right or the left. Okay. You can also change the probe modes to 1 time or 10 times. I have the probes in 10 times, so I will leave it in 10 times. And the coupling, pressing the AC/DC button. You have also the 50% button that will allow you to center everything on the screen. Okay, the same goes for the channel 2. This little plus sign, when you press OK, it will switch between 4 arrows and plus sign. While it is in plus sign, the keys function to control, for example, the amplitude and time division, but when you have the arrows, it will allow you to move the signals on the screen. For example, I have channel 2 selected. If I select channel 1, I will be able to move it like this. Okay. And also you can move the trigger using this key. So right now, if you press 50%, everything will be centered on the screen. And on this central position, if you use the left and right keys, you will be able to change the position in the buffer memory. In the screen, that's it. Nothing more to tell you. No, it is. You have here on the right the indication of the selected channel, I think. Yeah. So every time you change the channel, the information that you will have here is from the selected channel. Finally, the last key that I didn't mention, other than the auto, that is self-explanatory, you have the save. The save will allow you to save the image on the screen to the memory. On the menu, we have several options. Let's start with the waveform. The waveform option will show you the saved waveforms that, like the one I just did, was saved to the memory. It is here. To see it, you can select with the cursors, but to see it, just press OK. And you can also browse the saved waveforms using the direction keys. To go back, you just press menu, and also menu to go back again to the main screen. We have measurements for voltage and time, I believe 6 for each of them, yeah, that you can activate it. Okay. And also you can invert, let me show you, like this. You can invert the channel. Let's see what happens. As you can see, the channel is inverted. Okay, and let's put it again normal. Also, you can use the generator output, this one that is here. You have the square wave, and using the modes key, you can change to ramp and to sine wave. You have only 3 signals. Using the keys below the screen, F1, F2 and save, you are able to change some properties of the signal. For example, the frequency. In square wave, you can go from 10 Hz up to 5 MHz. Also, you can change the VPP from 3 volts VPP to 0 volts, or its 6 values down to 0.1 VPP, if you don't count with the 0 volts. And finally, in square wave, you can change the duty cycle. So right now it's 50%. You can choose another one using the direction keys. Okay, that's it in terms of what you can change. One final note about this. You can go in square wave up to 5 MHz, but that does not apply for, let me change, oops. That does not apply for ramp. You can go only up to 100 kHz, and also on sine wave with the same frequency, maximum frequency. For each of these signals, the duty cycle is disabled as it should. Okay, we have also the possibility to, we have also the possibility to have automatic 50%, so it will be always centered. You have the option for calibration and also for changing the light. Right now it's on the minimum. It's easier to record what is on the screen with low light. And you have the grid on or off also option. I will leave it on. You have, I believe, 2 options, yeah, on or off. And the beep if you want to disable it. I will leave it, it doesn't bother me. Okay. So in terms of menu, that's also it. I think that everything is covered. Let's start testing the bandwidth. For the bandwidth test, I have my function generator already ready. So I will start by showing you 100 kHz signal, and I will use only one channel for it at the moment. I will test it up to 100 megahertz, since this is a 120 megahertz oscilloscope, but my function generator is not able to go over the 100 megahertz. So let's start. We have 100 kilohertz already, so nothing here too serious. While the VPP is already at 960 for such a low bandwidth, but let's see what happens. I will change immediately for 1 megahertz. Okay, let's do an auto. It detects pretty well the 1 megahertz, and also the VPP is now over the 920 to 40. Let's move to 25 megahertz. It's a 1/4 jump for the 100 megahertz maximum that I can go. And yeah, I already have some strange readings in here. So what is going on? Okay, something is really wrong right now. For 25 megahertz, he will tell me that I have a frequency of 100 kilohertz, and it dropped to 800 and something millivolts. I will now increase this manually to see what happens. Okay, so we are right now at 50 megahertz. Let's do auto. Okay, what is going on here? Everything is jumping around. Let me activate channel 2. Yeah, this is all over the place. One thing that I didn't mention, both channels are synced. So right now channel 2 has also 50 megahertz with 1 volt VPP. Okay. Let me try to increase the amplitude to see if the signal stays better. Okay, with increased amplitudes, the frequency now is reading right. And yeah, on channel 1 also. Let me just disable channel 1, and channel 2 stays much more stable. Okay, I think this is a VPP problem. Okay, so but let's go with frequency up to 100 megahertz to see what happens with 5 volts. Okay, it's processing. Let's wait. Wait for it. Nothing happens with 100 megahertz. It can be from my function generator. I test all the oscilloscopes with it, so maybe yes, maybe not. Let me go back manually to see if we can. I'm at 97 megahertz right now. Okay, 97 megahertz seems to work. We have a VPP over 1 volt, but it identifies more or less correctly the frequency. It's jumping a bit, but yeah. The VPP, okay, let's, even because I'm outputting 5 volts, if we are with a VPP of 1 volt, this should be something like 200 millivolts if I have 1 volt activated. So yeah, quite a loss. Let's see how much I can go until I get around 4 volts. Yeah, 81, 82. I think this was more or less the same result I had with the ET120 Pro model with only 1 channel. So it's more or less in line with the other one. Let me activate channel 2, do auto. and obviously the sampling rate will not be able to process both channels, and this will go bananas totally. Okay, so 10 megahertz, let's see what we can have with 2 channels. I'm running 10 megahertz right now. Okay, 10 megahertz, VPP 5 volts, still good. 20 megahertz. Oops, sorry, 20 megahertz. Okay, 20 megahertz. The voltage is around, or the VPP is around 415. So I don't think we can go much lower than this. Maybe 25 with both channels. It's okay. Let me power this off. Yeah, if we put only one channel, everything will be more stable. Okay, that's it. Even so, let me activate again and go to 30 megahertz. Okay, it's detecting okay. We didn't have such a huge drop as I was expecting, so still on 4 volts. Let me increase here, or decrease in this case. Time division. Yeah, the weird part is when you change the time division, this will stabilize. That's more like it. Okay, let's go to 50 megahertz. Okay, I have to mess again. No, 50 megahertz, the signal is totally unreadable. So, yeah, 40. So it should be around 40, is half of the 80 megahertz that we used for one channel as reference. Okay, let me change to 12 nanoseconds. So for me this is okay. The drop was not so significant. That will be below the -3 dB. And we have 40 megahertz for 2 channels and probably 80 for 1 channel. Let me see it. Again, 80 megahertz for 1 channel. Let me do a key auto. Okay, 80 megahertz, almost the 5 volts, perfect. I don't see any problem. And what I will do now is put the function generator outputting to my oscilloscope. To show you how the function generator works, or the waveform generator, right now it's outputting a sine wave, and you can see on the top right corner of the screen my Rigel with the sine wave in it. I will now enter the menu and go here to the generator out option and see how I can change some of the options. Right now I'm changing to 100 kilohertz sine wave. You saw that it changed on the screen. If you notice here, the current is 2.9, so yeah, it's good. And also the average frequency, it's 104. Not quite the 100 that is telling here, but okay. Let me change this to a 100 kilohertz square wave. Yeah, it seems pretty nice. And also a ramp. The ramp might be better. Let me do it auto just to make sure. Yeah, it might be better, but it is the maximum bandwidth output for the ramp. So yeah. Okay, let's go back again to square wave, and in square wave we can go change this to 5 megahertz. So let's see what it will be outputted with a 5 megahertz square wave. Okay, this could be better. So what will be something good without damaging the square wave. Right now it's 3 megahertz. Not good yet. 2 megahertz. 1 megahertz. This might be better. Yeah, it's a bit rounded, but I take this as granted. Yeah. Okay. 1 megahertz square wave on the screen. And that's it. I don't have much more to show. Let me see. 30%. Yeah. Duty cycle. And again, 70% duty cycle. Works like a charm. And 50%. So that's it. Let's conclude the video. Let's wrap this up, and I will start with the price. This 2 channels model is roughly 10 to 15 euros more expensive than the 1 channel option. This means around $11 to $16 to my North American friends. Personally, given the choice, I'll choose always the 2nd channel version. The price difference is not that huge, and once bought the 1 channel version, you can't upgrade. So in my opinion, for this difference, I always go with the 2 channel version. When I first received this device to review, roughly 1.5 months ago, he was being sold at 55 euros or around $60 in AliExpress Tooltop store. But since then, it seems the price increased a bit, and it is now listed around 68 to 70 euros, at least for the European users, because if you are on the United States, you can get it for $55 or around 53 euros. And it's not bad for a 2 channels oscilloscope with a function generator. Regarding the features, specs and usability, all I can say is repeat myself regarding what I already mentioned in the ET120M Pro review video that I recommend you to see, and you have here on the left corner a card to access it. It has a very nice layout of keys, making it really easy to use and to fast execute any action. The overall quality is really good in terms of construction, and the fact that they moved to MCX connector allow them to solve the issue of having BNC connector sticking out of the enclosure. This brings another problem, that is, it's much harder to find probes with the MCX connector than with the BNC one. But don't forget that exists really cheap and easy to buy adapters on sale on AliExpress. No special change in terms of features in the software. The waveforms generator still give you 3 different signals for output. The maximum usable bandwidth still seems to be 80 MHz, cut in half if you are using 2 channels at the same time. The way they implemented the channel selection is good. It is easy to manage and don't add extra complexity to the usage of the oscilloscope. As I already mentioned in the 2 previous reviews of this device predecessors, the overall experience was good. It was already with the previous ET120M and the more recent ET120M Pro, and still is a valid option if you are looking for a small oscilloscope for learning, hobbyists, or even professionals that don't need a full-feature bench oscilloscope. So if you are considering to buy one of these ET120M C2, please consider also sponsoring the channel. It is really easy, you just have to use one of the affiliate access links on the screen whenever you visit AliExpress or Amazon for your purchases. You pay exactly the same, but you are giving me and the channel a big help to keep these videos coming. And please remember that if this video was in any way useful to you, please slap that like button to help the channel grow, and if you want to keep up with new equipment that arrives to the market, you should hit that subscribe button also, because every week I receive new equipment to review. That's it for today. I really appreciate your company and the time you spend watching this video. I hope to see you again in my next one. Until then, take care.